All right. What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast, health and fitness episode, joined here by my good friend and business partner, Jim Brown. What's up, Jim?
Not much, man. How are you?
Doing great, man. Doing great. This is 2 weeks in a row that we've been able to jump on these, man. So I always, I mean, I always enjoy it. Always gets, it's exciting for me, man. I always learn so much
Yeah.
from you. So,
This is Miami version. I'm in Miami today, so
oh, nice.
yeah,
Yep.
very cool.
Yeah. Plus, we were able to jam for a couple hours on what was that Saturday on
Yeah,
business venture stuff. But
very cool.
so we definitely have some great topics today. I know this is something that we've been talking about heavily for some time now, but we're going to talk about Ozempic again, or
Yeah.
semaglutide, or just this whole miracle fat loss. Those of you that are listening, not watching, which I know most of you do, I just threw up little air quotes. This miracle air quote, fat loss drug that it can be very dangerous. And the reason why we're bringing it up is just because it's being pushed so heavily, but people aren't talking about the negative repercussions of it. So we're not saying to do it or not do it. We just want to make sure that you understand what those negative side effects are. We're also going to talk about diet versus drug myths. And then Jim finally released and put together and released his new monster maker.
Yeah.
And I just was just telling him before we hit the record button, I got done with workout number 1, and I am sore from my traps to the top of my ass. My back is just roasted.
Dude.
So before we jump into that real quick, though, you guys make sure that you are checking out forgelife.com. So this is Jim and my supplement company. We have 2 amazing supplements. So supplement number 1, if you're watching this on video, you can see this here. This is our nootropic formula. So it's called Zone. So if you are looking to enhance your overall mental energy, mental focus, if you're a guy like me and Jim that need that edge throughout the day, and we've got to be laser focused building our businesses or whatever it is that you're doing. So if you're suffering from brain fog, if you find yourself lacking mental focus throughout the day, definitely check out Zone. Most powerful nootropic hands down on the market. This is Jim's formulation. I can't take credit for it, but it's absolutely badass, amazing supplement. Our other supplement is called Care. So this is an eye formulation that helps regrow and generate cornea tissue. Or I guess you might do a better explanation of
It
what it
helps. Yeah, it helps your eyes deal with oxidative damage, and it helps slow down macular degeneration. So, has a very high dose of saffron in it, which has been shown to help people with macular degeneration. And it has a bunch of specialized antioxidants in it that you're not going to be able to get from diet. Even if you did seek out those antioxidants from dietary sources, you couldn't get enough that you're going to get without a specialized product like that. And basically with the screen time, and we've talked about it before, but at the end of the day, I'm between phone and computer, I'm probably 12 hours in front of a screen in combination without being in the sunlight, and back and forth. And if I'm not taking that, my eyes get, it's day and night how tired they get by the end of the day, and I just can't focus. I can't focus anymore, and I feel like I got to put on glasses, or at least like a 1 or 2x magnification to read my phone. But anyway, it's yeah, I'm very, very happy with that formula. But that's been the repeated feedback that we get from customers, is that eye tiredness at the end of the day. And we talked about it last time, but if you've had LASIK surgery, if you're going to have it, I would highly, highly recommend you take that product. I would start taking it before, and then definitely after, and continue to stay on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, like I have, I guess, healthy eyes for the most part, like as far as vision goes. But I have bad dry eye. And then even without the dry eye, dude, just all day long, I'm in front of a computer, whether it's Zoom meetings or podcasts or just emails and busy shit. And dude, I actually take 2 doses of it, and I just do not feel the same eye tiredness. Because I used to sit there and think, before you came up with this formulation, that, man, I'm just getting tired, man. Am I getting old? But I realized that it wasn't that I was tired. It was that my eyes were freaking tired from looking at all
Yeah.
this screen time and blue lights. And even my parents, and as they're aging, their eyes are getting worse. My parents are all taking it, dude, and seeing immediate results. So anyway, with that being said, you guys, forgelife.com, FORJ life.com. There'll be a link below. You can go check it out. All right, brother. So let's jump into Ozempic. I know we covered this on the last podcast too. We're talking about the number one side effect. And I don't even know if this is going to end up being the number one side effect because it's so new, but about 50% of the people taking it now are experiencing depression. And there's already been, I don't know the exact number, but a lot of people that have already like depression to the extreme of taking their life. And whether it's Ozempic, and then we've got Semaglutide, there's several different names for this, but this is just this, again, quote unquote miracle. You and I aren't saying it's a miracle fat loss drug, but that's how it gets sold. It's a peptide that essentially cuts off your desire to go out there and eat. Like, I don't know if it just cuts off your body, like blocks off your ghrelin levels or whatever, but there's just some dangerous side effects potentially. And let me lead with this, and then I'm going to shut up and let Jim talk because he's the expert. But we are not doctors. We're just a couple dudes talking shit on YouTube and on a podcast. So, take this, for what you will. Seek medical advice. I'm just giving the YouTube / online disclaimer that we're supposed to give here with this. But I know you had a few other things that you wanted to bring up that we didn't talk about last week with this.
Yeah, I did a quick search and I'm just going to review that. But some of the things that people are kind of, I guess, looking for answers for on that is, they don't really understand the purpose of it, what it's supposed to do. They're scared of dependency and addiction issues. We kind of talked about both of those. But if you're a diabetic, it can help increase your insulin sensitivity. But I think there's a couple mechanisms of action there, but the biggest is that you're not eating as much. And anytime you cut calories, magical things happen. You increase your, if you fast or if you intermittent fast, if you lower your calories, you start to lose body fat, you increase your insulin sensitivity. And even though this medication has the different ways to kind of do that, I mean, that's the big benefit in that. So, the help for diabetics, I think it's increasing your insulin sensitivity because I don't see how you couldn't, but you're going to lose weight on it and you're going to be eating less. And I think that's the really the big driver there. And so what does the medication do? It really blunts your hunger signal. I tried it as we've spoken about, and anytime that I can take something like that, a drug, and it completely mutes my hunger, it's a very powerful drug. So it's very powerful. And when you first start it, it hits you pretty hard. And then, one of the things we'll talk about, the second question there is ramping up the dosage. But in a nutshell, that's what the medication does. So dependency and addiction concerns. Well, if you ask your physician, what's the dosing regimen look like? You start out, and I believe this is just off the top of my head, I didn't look at this before, but I think the first bottle lasts you like 8 weeks. Because you start out on a very low dose and you have to ramp, you start ramping up, I think week 2 or week 3. And by the time you're on the second or third month, you're doing like a bottle every 3 weeks, definitely every 4 weeks. And so you quickly build a tolerance to it and you have to keep adding. Because in my experience, if I wasn't at the point where I was kind of feeling pukey and nauseous on the curb of being nauseous all day, then it didn't completely curb my appetite or get rid of hunger. And so there's that fine line to go. And that's a lot of times they'll prescribe something like a anti-nausea medication like Zoloft in conjunction to use with it, because if you're taking enough of it to completely shut off your hunger, you're going to be nauseous. So overuse and addiction concerns, yeah, there's a course that you're going to run with it. And I don't know if you're doing a bottle a month at that point. If you keep adding, I'm sure that people are doing that, but man, I don't see how that's sustainable at all. And that goes back to, kind of the few recommendations that I have if you're going to use it that I learned and we're learning from the bodybuilding community. But that is to, use it as a tool and have an exit plan, basically. And again, I know we've said this before, but if you're going to use this medication, use the absence of hunger as a gift. And what do you do with that gift? You build your sustainable system of nutrition. You're the way that you're going to eat and live afterwards. And this is going to help you avoid a lot of the crushing effects that most people are going to experience while on this medication. So I'll outline the typical usage for somebody who's doing this. This is somebody who doesn't really have a lot of willpower, probably failed on diets before, never really came up with a system of living and eating that's sustainable and going to get them to where they want to be. And they go on this medication, and then all of a sudden hunger's gone. They reduce their calories severely. They're in a massive calorie deficit. They're not getting enough nutrition, and they're losing weight hand over fist. Well, you're not only losing fat, but you're going to be losing muscle and bone density. And at the end of it, you're going to be smaller, but you're going to be a skinny fat version. That's why I call this, this is the skinny fat drug. Because if you do not lift weights and you do not consume enough protein and calories, you're going to lose all your muscle mass, you're going to lose bone density, and you're going to be stuck as skinny fat. You'll be a smaller version of yourself for sure, but nobody wants that. So how do you build a system up? Why would you want to do it? So in the absence of hunger, while you have this, this unicorn period that you can come up with a diet and be compliant, and then build a habit so that when you stop using this drug, you fall back on this habit. You already have it built. And so that looks like determining how many calories you want to take in a day, whether it's 1,000, whether it's 1,500, maybe 2,000. It's going to be based, heavily on protein sources, a little bit of carbohydrates, a little bit of fat. And that's really it. And you come up with a system like, it could be having a veggie omelet in the morning, an egg white veggie omelet in the morning. Lunch is, a piece of meat, chicken, fish, whatever, and some salad. And then a dinner that looks like the same thing with maybe some vegetables on, or maybe a little bit more carbohydrates. Whatever your system is, that's what you're going to be doing while you have this absence of hunger. You're still going to lose weight. You're still going to lose body fat. Insulin sensitivity is still going to improve, but you're going to slow down or stop the muscle loss. And if you're lifting weights, which you absolutely should be, then you have a shot at keeping your bone density and muscle on while you're losing this body fat. And so anyway, that's the system part. So I would highly recommend, if you're going to use this drug, to implement a system, reach out, get help. I do these consults with people. I can help kind of set you up on what a diet should look like, how many calories you should consume, and get a system in place so that when you go off of it, you just fall back on this thing that you've been doing for 3 months already. And at that point, you have a shot at being compliant. You have a shot at staying on this new lifestyle, as opposed to something that, you go off this drug and then so hunger kick back in. And then, you pick up a 12-pack of tacos at Taco Bell, and you're crying to yourself, eating everything at in the drive-through by yourself on a lonely night. So whatever that looks like. But anyway, that's my top recommendations for that. Highly recommend you get help, get on a nutrition plan before you start this drug, or if you're on it, implement that immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I mean, I think it's pretty safe to say that everybody, like, you're going to come off of it.
Yeah.
Because the tolerance you
100%.
build up, and it's either the tolerance or you're going to go broke.
You're going to come off of it. No, you're going to. Yeah.
Yeah. And then from there, it's like, okay, like if you don't do this right, you are going to jack up your system, your overall metabolism. I mean, you're just going to yo-yo back so damn fast. I mean, it's almost just giving people an excuse to go anorexic, because I mean, how many people, I know in your world, the community that you roll with, a lot of these people are, whether they're wrestlers or UFC fighters or bodybuilders, that are using this as a way to help them get through those hunger pains, but they're still training properly and getting their macronutrients properly. And that's what, 0.5% of the population. And this is what scares me so much about this, is all these doctors, we talked about this last week, it's like even the doctor recommended my wife and was just like, oh, here's all the upside of it. Didn't educate her once on the downside. I'm like, how many people?
And your wife weighs what, like $109?
I got shocked when she told her to take it. I'm like, what the F?
Yeah.
Doctors must be making a killing on prescribing this stuff.
Oh, yeah. So, the other part there too, the bodybuilding thing, I'm an expert at my body. There's nobody in the world that knows my body better than I do. And there's not a lot of people who know their body as well as I know mine. Meaning, if I go on to a new diet, a new training program, I take a new drug, whatever, and things are starting to go south, I feel it right away. And I know how to right the ship. But that being said, in the bodybuilding community, the guys are using it, but they're on a contest diet. They're already so whatever I just recommended, that you have your calories tuned in, you have your macros tuned in, you figure out your system. They already have that. That's done already. They're taking this not because when you're trying to get to lower percent of body fat, single digit percent of body fat, it becomes a different type of hunger. It goes from, hey, I'm hungry, my body is telling me I should really eat, to I'm dying, you need to eat. And it's a totally different hunger. So they're taking it to try to deal with that last part of the hunger, that end stage of the hunger. And it doesn't completely shut that off. At least it didn't in me when I hit the end stage there, when I was trying to go deep. And for some of these guys, if it blunts it, hell, if I remember the last time I got down to 5% body fat, if I could curb that pain just a little bit, I probably would have used it, but I would have been successful because I'm eating a perfect plan. I know my body, and that's a difference, when you're dealing with a guy or somebody that's, kind of already tuned in the diet, already been there doing that. And then you add this into curb hunger, a little bit different game than somebody off the street who hasn't developed those skills, doesn't know, doesn't have that knowingness or the guidebook to your own body.
Yeah. So for most people, they're going to get depressed.
Yep.
They're going to jack up their metabolism, jack up. They're going to lose bone density, yo back way worse. They're going to but I don't know.
Well, we know people, man, and it's an easy, it's an easy button. It is. It's an easy button. And what's the hard thing to do? Well, the hard thing to do on it would still be lifting weights or starting to lift weights while you go on it, and prep your goddamn food. Have a plan and eat. You're going to have to eat when you're not hungry. And you're going to have to eat shit that you probably don't want to, because if you wanted to eat that stuff, you wouldn't be in the position where you're taking Ozempic in the first place. Yeah. But man, chicken and rice and vegetables get old sometimes, but that's the life, or a hamburger patty with broccoli. Well, that's what you got to do to get there, man. And if you build that system up and you can enjoy it, you make it sustainable, then, you can be there. But this drug, if you use it right, it can be very powerful, especially for somebody who's never been there, or somebody who has always failed at, implementing a system, implementing a diet. But damn, guys, get some help, get a system, get just a baseline diet that you can follow. It's a pretty simple thing. It's a real simple kind of diet. Just like I said before, 3 meals with protein. You want a Greek yogurt snack, perfect. I mean, that's going to have that's just going to make a big difference. If we had 2 twins and we did the trial with one twin just ate whatever they felt like on this stuff, and then the other was on a program nutrition plan, not only are the end results when the drug is taken away going to be vastly different, but then when the drug's gone, they're going to be massively different, especially if the one stays, compliant to the system that they built, and they're just following the habits that they've been doing for the last 3 months. So.
Yep. Awesome, man. Okay. So then to the next topic, diet versus drug myths. All right, man. So if I want to go, look like Jim Brown, I just got to take drugs, right?
That's right. It's that easy, man. So, one of the things, and I just wrote a Substack about this too, but the hottest thing, if you go on whatever social media and you hear younger guys talking about drugs and, bodybuilding drugs, specifically performance enhancing drugs, they all talk about trend, which is ridiculous, but it's a meme. It became a meme, and then everybody knows what it is. You got fucking teenagers all over the world wanting to take this stuff, and they don't know what it does. They don't know what implications it's going to have. And it's just, it's just information that's unfounded by people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So I'll give you an example. Met a guy today that had competed in a fitness contest, lean guy, you could tell he works out. I believe it was like the swimsuit division or something. Didn't have, he's not carrying around an unnatural or real heavily muscled look, but lean in shape guy. And he asked me, we got to talking, and he said, yeah, I'm a little bit older now and it's harder to get down into that, like 9% body fat, 8% body fat. And I want to do it again for my 40th birthday. And I was thinking about taking this or that, and he named a couple drugs and said, yeah, the guys at the gym say, you take that, it really shreds you up, it cuts you up and all this. And I said, okay, well, when you did your diet for your show, how many calories were you eating? Oh, I don't know, man. I didn't measure it. I said, okay. Well, how many calories you're going to eat? On this new diet, you're going to get ripped for 40. What are you going to do? What are you going to propose that you're going to eat? And he's like, well, just kind of like what I did before, like 4 eggs in the morning. I have some lunch. I was like, okay, so you're not going to measure food. You don't know how many macros you're going to take. You know how many calories you're eating. He said no. And I was like, dude, so you think a drug is going to do that with this half-ass approach to nutrition? It's not going to. There's no drug in the world, well, anabolic drug that burns body fat. And it was a mistake that I made too. I thought that too. And, I talked about this on the Mark Bell podcast, but my bodybuilding career could have been a lot more successful if I wasn't always looking for this edge or this certain thing rather than just weighing my goddamn food and doing my cardio and then going by the numbers, just strictly data. And, I think that's a real misconception. You think that if you're going to take this drug, you're going to do this, you're going to look like this, or it's going to cut you up, or it's going to help you lose body fat. They don't do that, man. They don't do that. All of the anabolics just increase your recovery to some extent. And that's it. The rest is diet, man. So if you're thinking about taking something like that, or you're listening to the guy at the gym or this and that, and you're not a master of your nutrition yet, then that's where you need to start, because that's where most of the results you're going to get are going to come from.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what I always tell people is like, look, here's an example. Like, okay, you and I, we're both on TRT, we're both on the same dose, but your arms are bigger than my legs, and yeah, I mean, you're a bigger dude than I am, you're few, whatever, 4 inches, how, you're taller, whatnot. But like, I look at what you eat, I'm like, dude, I don't want to say I physically can't. I'm just not willing to do what you're willing to do to get that big. Like, I'm just like, dude, like, I mean, I like to be a little bit more muscular and lean, but I'm like, dude, to eat that amount of food, I don't think people realize the amount of food, how intense you train, how, sleep. Right. I mean, all of that stuff coming full circle. I'm like, all right, I guess, it is, and I think you said this before, but it's like when I see somebody that's in epic shape, even if it's obvious that they're, on some type of anabolics, I'm never like, oh, what drugs are they on? I'm like, dude, what does that person eat?
Let me see your diet. That's 100% true. And when you get to that point and you realize, and that's truly your first question, not, oh man, what drugs are you on? Or, oh, what did you look like when you were 3? That's certainly the genetic component is real strong. But yeah, if you truly go, man, I want to see what you eat, what your diet is, then I think you have a full understanding of what all these tools, all these factors, what they actually contribute. And I think that's the baseline. And that's the thing that really differentiates the people in the space, man. It really does. Like to your point, yesterday I didn't have a lot to eat. And when I finally stopped for lunch, the girl was putting rice in this container. I had chicken and rice. And like, tell me when to stop. I was like, oh, okay, we'll fill it up. Or like, fill up the whole thing. I go, yeah. So it's about 2.5, 3 cups of rice. And they sat down. The guy, her dad or whoever owns the store came out and watched me eat. And I ate 3 cups of rice and whatever chicken. It was a pile of food. But yeah, I hadn't eaten, I could do that 3, 4 times a day and still, maintain whatever amount of lean. People just don't understand what the diet aspect really is. That's the secret, man. Certainly training and all that stuff, but the diet is just, people don't have an idea. But that's where to start, and that's where the results are. That's the real differentiator. Anybody can go train hard. I mean, the gym's full of guys who train hard, but gym's not full of guys who are real big and or very lean and in shape where you go, damn, what's going on over there?
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if it's the right analogy because it's, talking about abs versus everything, but it's like, it's just a saying that 6-packs are made in the kitchen, not the gym,
Yep.
but it's just like, it seems like it's at least, 80, if not 90% of this game, dude, is just what the hell are you eating?
Yep. Yep. It's amazing, dude. And same, same for guys that can't gain muscle either. Like, oh, I do everything. I'm like, okay, how much have you eaten today? I had a bagel. I had some cereal. That was the thing. I had heard that maybe 10,000 times when I had the nutrition store. College kid come in, hey man, I can't gain weight. Okay, dude, it's 1 o'clock. What have you eaten today? Well, I got up, I had a bagel, I put some peanut butter on it, and then let me see, I had a hot pocket. Like, dude, you've been awake for 8 hours and you've eaten, you know, fucking nothing. You've eaten nothing. You expect to gain muscle. You can't gain weight. Okay. Yeah, I believe you. Yeah, you can't gain weight. And it's again, people just don't realize what it takes.
Yeah. Yeah. I look at my diet today. It's like, okay, meal number 1 at 2 a.m., 2 servings of just straight Greek yogurt.
Yeah.
Then I, 2 scoops of collagen protein, some hemp seeds in there. And then I, chopped up a banana for a little bit of carbs before my that was my pre-workout meal. But that ends up being about 50 grams of protein, about 30, 35 grams of carbohydrates. Then I work out. Then I had 6 eggs, chopped up some ham in there, and then some like a little bit of olives or whatever. Because I didn't want to do the avocado. I just wanted to mix up taste wise a little bit. And then another small, decent sized piece of fruit to get about 35 grams of carbs post workout. Then about 3 hours later, had 50 grams in a whey shake. Then 3 hours after that, had almost a half pound of freaking bison. Then I had another protein shake. Then in about another 2 hours, like my last meal today, which is going to be straight meat. And that's about the max I can do, right? Which about 220 grams of protein, when I start factoring it all in, and relatively, low on the fat and carb side. But dude, and that's a lot. Like I'm sitting there, like eating those eggs this morning. I'm just like, oh, I'm force feeding myself. I'm like, oh my God, dude.
Yeah, when my favorite post workout is either a carton of egg whites and a bagel, or a carton of egg whites and some white rice, maybe a cup and a half. And dude, I mean, I like it. I mix it together. I put something salty in there, whether it's like a teriyaki or soy base, something to kind of mix it up, man. But that's a lot of food, and I'm usually not hungry, man.
Yeah.
When I sit down and eat a 12-ounce chicken breast and a cup of rice, sometimes for the 5th time in the day.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's what you have to do. And I'm not even, I'm 50 pounds lighter than I was. And I can't, when I think back about how much food I used to eat, I don't conceptualize it anymore. It's been too long. But it was easily double what I eat today. I mean, it's just hard to imagine. But I hear stories. Who we talked to, my buddy Joey. He was a monster too back in the day, and we talk about all the time what the food was like, and it's just amazing, man. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. At that level, it's like a full-time job, dude.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even now, I don't, I'm on the road now and I'm traveling, but, when I can't take food, or I don't have emergency shakes or whatever, like today, I know where I can go. I know where I'm going to get my food source. There's always a Wendy's around. I had 3 plain burger patties and a baked potato for lunch. I mean, that's my go-to on the road when I can't bring food. It's just those, that's the system, but that's how, you got to build your system up and stick to it, man. That's the only way to do it.
Yep. Yep. Love it, man. All right, dude. So let's roll into Monster Maker, man. So you got it released.
It's done. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So a lot of people had wondered, and they asked what my training was like when I was a monster, right? When I was the biggest and strongest. And there was about an 8-year period there where I was at that pinnacle of my size and strength. And this is the workout that I used. Like I had told you, I was going back through it, seeing what notes I had, and I kind of talked to one of my old training partners, try to remember what we used to do and what it used to look like. And then I was testing it for a couple months there, and man, it's brutal, dude. It's brutal. So, Yeah, it's very intense. It's very challenging. You know, a lot of people that I have are splitting the workouts into 2 days, which is fine if you have the time. I do it all in one workout, and it takes about an hour and 15, hour and a half, depending on what day it is and how much I have to warm up and so on. But it's a workout that if you really want to push yourself, if you want to challenge, or if your game is point on your nutrition, your recovery, everything, and you want to have something that you can throw in for 2 weeks, for 4 weeks, for 6 weeks, and then go back to your baseline workout, this is what it is. It's basically a routine that you repeat over and over and over, week to week, for as many weeks as you can, and then you go back to baseline. And so, you know, if your recovery is point on, you know, you're stale in your program, whatever, this is something that you can throw in and then go back to, you know, in 2 to 4 weeks or 6 weeks or whenever you're beat up enough. But it's brutal, man. It's a brutal workout.
Well, and what I liked about it, dude, and I haven't fully started implementing it yet, just because it's, you know, after it came out, I was sick for a little bit of time there, and I'm just, so, you know, I'm planning on, you know, fully starting. Hopefully, like, this is my first week back. I was off for about over a week from being sick, but so hopefully by next week I'll be feeling, you know, 100, like, back at it where I can, you know, start attacking it. But I mean, it's so simple.
Yeah, I
You know what I mean?
mean,
It's just like, I mean, how you created it. It's, I don't know what the total page count of the book is, but it's, you know, it's just, it's simple. It's, you know, like, it was,
yeah,
you know, like a
I've
guy like me that isn't, you know, doesn't have your knowledge base. Like, it was like, it just, you know, it's easy to follow and easy to, for it to make sense of what to do.
yeah, I tried to, you know, I've been helping people do this for a long time, and I really had tried to make it so that I addressed every question that I've always ever been asked, and try to lay that up in the front. And then, you know, I picked out the exercises that I typically use, and the ones that I find most effective for most people. But that being said, you know, if you have to substitute movements, you can do that too. But the regimen overall, I think, is very solid, and I've heard from everybody that's used it, been using it, is on it, that it is well put together. So I'm real proud of that, man. Thank you. I think it's the best I've done so far. But
Yeah. Well, just some of them, dude. Like, yeah, just exercises I would never, I guess, I don't know why I haven't thought to do, but fucking shit, dude. Like those DC pull-ups, dude.
yeah.
I'm just roasted, dude. Roasted.
And you know, people, I was asked, well, that we started, you know, the Joey and I, you met him. We started every back workout with 50 pull-ups, whether it was prone grip, wide grip, chin ups, whatever. Every back workout was 50 pull-ups. And you know, it usually took me 2 sets, sometimes 3 to do them. And then we started doing them with weight, but every workout. And we both did not have small backs. You know, it's a lot of volumes, and those movements that we did, you know, that are in there, those are the ones that I don't know, I just got insanely big and strong with. And you know, you can substitute around, but if you're going to buy this program, if you're going to check it out, I would highly encourage you that you give it the best chance to work that you can, and that's doing everything prescribed in there, the movements, you know, if you can, and give it a shot to work. But it's a motherfucker, man. It's a hard workout.
Yeah, and I'm excited for it too, because I've always just kind of, you know, worked out. I mean, you definitely changed some things up with you, things I've learned over the years. But, you know, there's always been kind of the traditional bro style where it's like, all right, you know, back Monday, you know,
Yeah,
and then, or like if I'm doing arms, it's like, okay, you know, triceps first, get my, you know, 16 to 20 sets in, then I go to biceps, and, you know, where this is just rotating so much shit. But then, you know, with a little bit I've been testing it, it's like by the time I get back to it, I have so much more strength from that recovery of, you know, getting through these sets here and then switching the body part and then coming back to that body part, you
yeah,
know. So
yeah, man. It's I forgot how great it was. It's hard, but yeah, man. It's I love that workout. Unfortunately, it's really hard for me to sustain that for a long period of time, but I can usually do, you know, 2 to 3 weeks in a row before I need a break. And that's either extra time off or going back to kind of a baseline routine and then jump back into it. But I'm 52. I'm an old man. My recovery isn't what it used to be, and I'm not usually in a calorie excess, and I'm usually right on the line or in a calorie deficit, and it's very difficult to keep up with this program if you're doing that. So,
Yeah. Even in the wintertime, you don't allow yourself to
I
be in
mean,
an excess.
you know, I have that cushion, right? I have that cushion to where, hey man, I'll take off my shirt anywhere, anytime right now, or probably don't feel good taking my shirt off at the beach. This comfort zone that I'm in, and that might be like 13% to 9, or whatever that range looks like. And most of the time, I'm in a deficit or right at that, kind of break even point to maintain that. So I don't go off the rails too much.
Yeah.
But that being said, I completely reload my glycogen when I need it. So if I'm depleted, I know my muscle glycogen's low. I have no problem throwing down 900 carbs to refill.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome, man. So then for those that are interested, dude, want to go snag and grab a copy and start this program, like where do you go to go get it at?
If you go to my Instagram or you go to my Twitter page, I have a link there. Or if you go to Gumroad, I sell it on Gumroad, and there's a Forge training thing there. We can put a link in this
Yeah.
episode, but yeah, I sell it on Gumroad. There's a package price where I have that 16-week Forge training routine that you can buy with it as a package. And if you don't have a real good baseline routine now, that's a great place to start. And then if you're going to do that, you can go through the 16-week program or however long you want to do it. If you get to the point where you're recovered, you feel good, you don't have any injuries, you got the Forge principles down, jump into Monster Maker, run that for 2, 4, 5, 6 weeks, and then go back down to the 16-week kind of basics of what you learned. And that's what I do. I do the same thing. That's what I do. I have my basic workout that I stick to most of the time, most of the year. And that's basically the Forge, that's all the Forge stuff that I've taught you guys. And then when I want to kick it up, or I'm feeling real good about myself, or just have to work shit out, work out stuff in my head or whatever, I'll jump into Monster Maker because it you leave everything at the gym, man.
Yeah. So if you can sustain it, is there any reason like, okay, I mean, because you sustained it for years, for somebody that wants to, allow it to make them into a monster, right? Like if you can, I mean, just you could stay on it as long as you can sustain the recovery time.
Yeah, yeah. Most people are will have to take some time off, but when I was using it consistently all those years, number one, I'm peak. I was in my peak condition. Recovery was on point, using every single trick in the book and tricks that I haven't even talked about. That was, all that stuff was in play. But if I felt like I needed a day off, I took a day off. If I felt like I needed the weekend or the next week off, I took the week off. That was the real trick. And I addressed that in the book. But if you need extra days off, take extra days off. Come back in when you're ready. Never train a muscle when it's sore, and then hit it. And if you do those things, yeah, you can sustain it for sure. And I used that routine. That was the routine that I used when I was bulking, getting strong, post contest, when I had this special time period to put on muscle for the year, or when I was dieted down. When I diet for a contest, that was the routine.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never really hit everything twice a week. So I'm excited about that to see
Yeah,
how that stimulates, growth and just what it does, dude. Cause I've never done it,
but
man.
it
I've
does. I know,
always,
dude. I'm excited. I'm excited for you to try it, see what happens.
yeah.
But you're at the experience level, and you're so in tune with your body and your diet. I think that it's going to do you really well. I think you're going to fare well with it. But that being said, you need an extra day off, take a day off.
Yeah. Well, I like that too, because it's only 4 days a week.
Only.
Yeah. Well, I know I'm saying that before I jumped into it, but I've always kind of trained 5 or 6 days a week, taking
Yeah.
one day off, right. Where and on that sixth day, that might be like, you know, forms and calves or something,
Yeah.
not like an intense day, but, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of excited about that too, seeing,
Yeah.
what that feels like and looks like. I
Yeah,
think it's going
man.
to be kind of hard mentally, but maybe not, because maybe I'll be so damn sore where it's like you just fucking need the days off.
Yeah, man. You should be at the point where it's like, yeah, I really need this day off. Now, if you feel like you got to do something, or I think I even talked about in the book, man, if you're going to go, if it's a day off training, you can't do it, go in and do zone 2 cardio on the bike.
Yep.
Drink your intro workout drink your aminos, a little bit of carbohydrates, and spend as much time as you want on the fucking bike doing zone 2, 15, 20 hour, doesn't matter. And that'll do you well. It'll help you keep body fat down, all that stuff. It's great for you, but it will increase your recovery. And I know that's counterintuitive, but sitting on the bike in zone 2 while you're sipping amino acids with a little bit of carbohydrate, post workout, pre workout, it increases your recovery.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I know we talked a lot about that. I always feel better when I'm, getting in a solid 45 minutes of cardio a day. Nothing intense. I'm not running, but,
Yeah.
I might be slightly below zone 2, but, I try
Yep.
to, I'm building up a sweat, but I just
Oh,
do, I
yeah.
just feel better, man.
Same, man. I've been really consistent with the cardio, and I feel really good. My energy's better. Everything's improved.
Yep. Well, hell yeah. All right, you guys. Well, we'll have so wherever you're at, wherever you're watching or listening, if you just scroll below, so either in the show notes or the description if you're on YouTube, show notes if you're on Spotify or iTunes or Apple Podcasts, we'll have the links right to where you can go check out Monster Maker, snag a copy of that. And again, make sure to check out forgesupplements.com. And as always, Jim, truly appreciate you taking time to be here, dude. This has been awesome, brother.
Same, man. Always enjoy our chats.
Yeah, 100%. And those watching and listening, as always, we truly appreciate you guys. Truly appreciate your support. Keep crushing, keep kicking ass, and we'll see you next time. Peace.